During the fourth place jokes during Wenger's time to the good old ebony of Emery, Arsenal has been the club that gets close to success and then disappoints. Almost predictably so. It used to be so much fun cracking jokes on Arsenal, but their current state is not even funny anymore. The English Premier League is much more enjoyable to watch with a competitive Arsenal team playing their Champions football, but we're just not seeing that for the last few years. The club is sinking deep into the pits of familiar problems with no end in sight. After all, they were in a similar position 1 year ago when everyone was asking what's wrong with Arsenal under Emery. At Arsenal, one Spaniard has been replaced by another, but their fortunes have not changed much. They sit just above the relegation line and have been struggling to find wins this year. But Arteta's time at Arsenal did not start so bad, right? The FA Cup winning run, beating Chelsea and Manchester City in the process was quite an accomplishment, as was the Community Shield victory versus Liverpool. Everything seemed to finally be in place for a resurgence of Arsenal, but it was just not to be. Things started crumbling from the start of the season, and the downward spiral has been astonishing to say the least. So why are they doing so poorly? Before we look at the reason behind Arsenal's lack of success, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button below so you never miss a video. Question 1. Recruitment. Sometimes one stat can tell you the whole story, so let me tell you one to sum up Arsenal's recruitment. The Gunners have spent more than £530 million since 2016, a sum that is even more than Liverpool. Arsenal's team of the early 2000s under Wenger used to be the emblem of frugality, with most signings being under the radar players. These players then made it big under the nurturing nature of the Frenchman, before backstabbing him and moving to greener pastures later. But in recent years, Arsenal have spent, and it would be kind to say that they have not spent well. In the summer of 2016, they spent around £100 million on Mustafi, Xhaka and Perez. Ask any Arsenal fan and they would be scratching their heads at these signings. It could have been even worse had their bid of around £90 million been accepted for AS Monaco for Atletico Madrid flop Thomas Lemar. Near the end of the reign of Arsene Wenger, the money started coming in and he did not know what to do with it. After his exit from the club, figures like Sven Mislintat, Raul Sanllehi and Edu Gaspar have been in charge of transfers, and they too have been extremely underwhelming. One reoccurring theme under the latter two has to be the shady dealings of Arsenal with agents. Arsenal have become a retirement home for players past their peak due to connections of their agents. Players like Cedric and Willian seem to have come due to their agent Kira Djubarichin, who seems to be a close friend of Edu Gaspar. What these things show is that the transfers at Arsenal are a total mess. Managers rarely get what they want and have to make do with signings that are underwhelming and not part of their plan. That is one of the several explanations as to Mikel Arteta is finding it so tough, making it at Arsenal, as most of the players do not have it in them to save his job. 2. Selection decision. But then again, one has to ask, has Arteta helped himself with his selection decisions? First things first, his selection decisions have been quite inconsistent. The players that should be supported are regularly thrown under the bus and dropped at the first chance, case in point, Nicolas Pepe. While other players like Willian and Xhaka keep their place in the team even after regular failures. One such selection decision of ignoring Maitland-Niles and picking up Bellerin at right back has especially angered fans. Many supporters have been urging him to play youngsters like Smith-Rowe and Balogun, who may have a future at Arsenal compared to other experienced players who may be on the way out. The treatment of Saliba is perhaps the cherry on top. The young French defender was the star of the impressive Saint-Etienne side in Ligue 1 and is rotting in the reserve for Arsenal. His Saint-Etienne compatriot Fofana, who signed for Leicester, is starting most games and seems to have no problem adjusting to the Premier League. So why is Saliba not given the chance to start a senior game for Arsenal, especially when the players turning out for Arsenal at centre-back aren't that good either? The fact that Arteta seems to have ignored the arrogance of Pepe Guardiola's without the results to back it up, had he been closer to the top four, all these decisions would not have been under the spotlight. But as it is, football is unforgiving, and all your mistakes seem all too clear for the world to see when you lose games. 3. Underperforming stars. As I said before, Arteta has not been helped by his underperforming stars. In 2019-2020 season, the reason Arteta's 3 at the back formation worked so well was the efficient finishing of Aubameyang. In most games, he was able to take what little chances he had and was instrumental in winning Arsenal the FA Cup. But with almost half of the season gone, he has only been able to score 4 goals in the 2020 and 2021 season. Of course, some might argue he's not gotten the kind of service that he got last season. But that seems to be one part of the problem, as his finishing has not been up to the mark either. For Arsenal, what is seriously worrying, although, is the form of Nicolas Pepe. The £72 million fee for him looks inflated every time you see him play. Arteta has not been able to trust the Ivorian, and he has mostly featured in Europa League games, regularly scoring against weak sides. But when it comes to the big games, he always seems out of his element. Maybe he would do better with a quality attacking midfielder to combine with. Similarly, players like Bellerin and Xhaka have also disappointed despite having strong ends to last season. In a team not finding its stride, the players have to get a lot of the blame, and that seems to be the case with Arsenal. Even if the management gets changed, many of the players are just not performing, and it may still take Arsenal years to get back on top. 4. Lack of identity. Let me ask you a question. What is Arsenal's best system under Mikel Arteta? It's tough for a fan to know when even he doesn't know what it is. The fact is that the Spaniard has found it tough to find one system that works for the team. Last season, they started with 3 at the back and depended on the efficiency of Aubameyang in front of the goal. They accepted their roles as underdogs in the big games and decided to play on the counter. But this season, more teams dropped deep and invited them to attack. Arsenal just couldn't handle the counters. So Arteta's moved to a 4-3-3 and even looked at Lacazette in the attacking midfield role in a 4-2-3-1, but nothing seemed to work. The problem seems to be that Arteta does not have the players that he needs to play his favourite formations. But it's not as if he has not had a full transfer window to look for such players. Is there any hope for Arsenal? Quite frankly, it's tough to see any signs of positivity. Some fans look at Martinelli coming back from injury as a positive. But he has since had another injury and seems to be out again. The former Saka is encouraging, but there is only so much a youngster like him can do. If Arteta makes it till the January transfer window, that could be the last throw of the dice for him and potentially Edu. If they can get an attacking midfielder that can give service to Aubameyang and Lacazette, they may have something to play with. Someone young and hungry could be a good signing for Arsenal. Budina from Norwich has been linked to the Gunners and is a decent creative player that can make an impact. Houssem Aouar is still available, and if Arsenal are brave enough, it may be a great deal for them. But what the fans would be fearing is another player that is on the decline, just signed for short-term results. They have seen players like Willen, Ketch and Socrates signed on the wrong side of the 30s who just don't seem to have it in them to influence games positively. And their high wages make it almost impossible to sell them. So players like Isco and Eriksen may not be the answer for Arsenal, who already have many players on bloated wages, but do not contribute much and are tough to sell. Arsenal's problems are the combination of poor recruitment, questionable selection, varying tactics and underperforming stars. If Arsenal can work on getting the right players in and creating a system that works for them in January, they might start to click. What remains to be seen is whether a rebuilding process will happen under Arteta or not. Let's hear what you think about how to fix Arsenal in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, share, and we'll see you next time for more content about the beautiful game.